Turning 70 is like walking into a room full of surprises. Some delightful, others, well, let's just say they take a bit of getting used to. No one handed me a rule book, but here I am, ready to tell you the truth they didn't. So stick around until the end, because this isn't just a list, it's a revelation. And while you're here, hit that like button, leave me a comment about what surprised you the most about aging, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You don't feel old. Everyone talks about turning 70 like it's some kind of finish line. People treat you differently. They'll offer you a chair even when you don't need one, talk a little louder as if your hearing suddenly disappeared overnight, or worse, assume you've stopped dreaming, working, or having ambitions. But let me tell you the truth. You don't magically wake up one morning feeling old. That's one of the biggest lies about aging. There are moments when I feel like I'm 40 again, when I'm out on a walk, taking in the beauty of nature, or laughing so hard with my friends that I forget what year it is. Of course, there are days when my knees feel like they've been around for a century, but here's the catch. It's not every day. Aging doesn't hit you in one big wave. It's gradual, and your spirit doesn't age the way your body does. It's funny how the world insists on seeing you through a lens of limitations when you're over 70. But inside, you're the same person you were at 30 or 40. Your sense of humor, your love for adventure, and your curiosity, they're all still alive. And if you nurture those things, they'll surprise you. The secret? Stop measuring your life by numbers like 70, 80, or even 100. Start measuring it by how alive you feel. 2. You stop caring about what people think. Here's a little gift that comes with turning 70, and believe me, it's a good one. You stop giving a damn about what other people think of you. Let me explain. When you're young, so much of your energy goes into managing other people's opinions. You stress about what they'll think of the clothes you wear, the job you have, the way you raise your kids, or even the way you keep your house. But at 70? Oh, honey, you stop bending over backward trying to fit into someone else's box. Want to wear bright yellow even if it doesn't match your gray hair? Do it. Want to say no to a party because you'd rather sit at home in your pajamas reading a good book? Go right ahead. Society spends too much time telling women to shrink themselves, to not be too loud or too bold, or heaven forbid, too honest. Well, guess what? At 70, those rules stop mattering because you realize they were never written for you in the first place. I've learned that living authentically, doing what makes you happy without explaining yourself, is the real key to peace. Some people might raise an eyebrow or offer unsolicited advice, but trust me, they'll get over it. Life becomes infinitely more joyful when you stop caring about approval and start caring about what makes you feel alive. That freedom is priceless, and it's waiting for you if you just embrace it. Chuck, little joys mean everything. Here's a truth about turning 70. Life slows down, and that's not a bad thing. When you're younger, it feels like you're constantly racing to work, to raise a family, to hit some imaginary milestones society set for you. And in the rush, you miss the simple, beautiful things. At 70, life changes, priorities shift. You're not chasing the same things anymore, and it gives you time to notice the little joys you used to overlook. Let me tell you about my mornings. Now. I wake up a little earlier than I used to, not because I have to, but because I want to. I sit by the window with a cup of tea, and I watch the sunlight dance through the trees. It's nothing extraordinary, but somehow it fills me up in a way no paycheck or compliment ever did. Or take the sound of rain. When you're young, it's just an annoyance. But now, it's soothing. It makes you want to curl up with a blanket and just listen. Another thing that feels different is connection. I used to take a phone call from an old friend for granted. Now, I treasure those moments. Even just hearing their voice feels like a gift. The simple act of laughing together, sharing a memory, even a silly one, feels sacred. And here's a surprising one: food. Oh, the joy of truly tasting a good meal when you've slowed down enough to savor it. A bowl of fresh soup or a slice of homemade bread can feel like love in edible form. What no one tells you about 70 is how much of your happiness can come from these small moments. You start to realize that happiness isn't about big events or grand gestures. It's in the details. Once you learn to find joy in the little things, every day can feel like a blessing. 4. Your friendships look different. There's a shift that happens at 70. Friendships don't look the way they used to. When you're younger, you meet people through work, your kids' schools, or hobbies, and your circle often feels big, maybe even overwhelming at times. But at 70, the circle gets smaller, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. The friends who remain are the ones who truly matter. They're the ones who've weathered the storms with you, seen you at your worst, and celebrated your best moments. These are the friendships that run deeper than gossip or small talk. Conversations become richer, less about surface-level chatter, and more about shared experiences and meaningful reflection. You're not talking about what's trendy. You're talking about the things that shaped you, the joys, the losses, the lessons you've learned along the way. But there's another side to this, and it's not easy. At this stage of life, you've likely said goodbye to some friends, whether because they moved away, grew apart, or sadly passed on. Grief becomes a quiet companion. And yet, you learn to cherish the time you had with those people. Their memories stay with you, woven into the fabric of your life, reminding you how much they meant to you. Another thing I've noticed is how much effort matters now. Friendships don't maintain themselves. You have to put in the work. Call that old friend, send the birthday card, or invite someone over for tea. These small gestures mean more than you might think, not just to them, but to you. It's the connections that remind us we're never truly alone. The mirror stops. Being your enemy. Let's talk about the mirror, something most of us have had a love-hate relationship with over the years. In your younger days, maybe you stood in front of it critiquing every little detail. Is this dress too tight? Does my hair look okay? What about this wrinkle forming near my eyes? And the beauty industry? Oh, it thrives on our insecurities, constantly telling us that we're never enough. But at 70, something remarkable happens. The mirror doesn't hold as much power over you anymore. Sure, there are still days when you might frown at a new line on your face or notice how your hands aren't as smooth as they used to be. But instead of frustration, you start to see those things as evidence of a life well lived. Each wrinkle tells a story. Each gray hair is a marker of wisdom. Your body becomes less about how it looks and more about what it's done for you. Those feet that walked thousands of miles, those arms that held loved ones close, and that heart that's beaten faithfully all these years. It's all worth celebrating. I remember a moment when this hit me. I looked in the mirror one morning and saw my mother's face looking back at me. And instead of feeling sad about aging, I felt this wave of gratitude for her. It made me proud to carry her features, her legacy, and her strength within me. The real beauty at 70 isn't what's on your face. It's what shines through from within. It's in your kindness, your confidence, and your ability to love. And trust me, people notice that far more than the so-called flaws you see in the mirror. 6. Energy is precious, and you protect it. One of the hardest lessons no one prepares you for is just how precious your energy becomes as you age. When I was younger, I'd go through life with endless to-do lists, always on the go, saying yes to everything and everyone. But by the time you're 70, you realize something crucial. Not everything deserves your time or your energy. Think about it. How much of your life have you spent on things that don't really matter? Worrying about things you can't control, saying yes out of guilt, or engaging in meaningless arguments that drain you emotionally. At 70, you learn the value of saying no without explanation. You don't attend every event, you don't answer every call, and you certainly don't entertain unnecessary drama. You learn to guard your time like the treasure it is. And I'll tell you what happens when you do that. You feel lighter. You have more room for the things that truly matter. Spending time with loved ones, doing activities that bring you joy, or simply sitting in peace without the pressure to be doing something productive. When you protect your energy, you're protecting your health, your happiness, and your well-being. It's a form of self-care that's absolutely essential as you get older. So, here's my advice. Don't feel guilty for setting boundaries. You're not being selfish. You're being wise. And believe me, the people who really care about you will respect that because they know your energy is precious. 7. Your health becomes your full-time job. Here's the truth about turning 70. Your health starts demanding more attention than ever. It's not just about avoiding illness. It's about maintaining the quality of your life. Suddenly, the routine, checkups, the blood work, and the doctor visits become part of your regular calendar. It might feel overwhelming at first, but trust me, it's one of the most important things you can do for yourself. Let me be real. This isn't about chasing perfection. No one expects you to run a marathon or keep up with a 25-year-old at the gym. It's about making small, consistent decisions that pay off big over time. Maybe it's a daily walk around the neighborhood, swapping that extra dessert for some fresh fruit, or finally prioritizing sleep over late-night TV marathons. These might seem like little things, but at 70, every healthy choice feels like a victory. But here's what they don't tell you. It's also about mindset. Listening to your body doesn't mean fearing it. It's about being kind to yourself, recognizing when you need rest, not pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion, and being okay with slowing down when necessary. You learn to work with your body, not against it. And don't underestimate the importance of mental health. Taking care of your mind is just as vital as your physical health. It could mean practicing gratitude, spending time on hobbies, or connecting with others who lift your spirits. It's about finding a balance and making sure that your health supports the life you want to live, not limits it. 8. Family dynamics get complicated. Family, the source of so much joy and sometimes, let's be honest, stress. Turning 70 often changes your role within the family. You're not just a parent or a grandparent, you become the elder, the one people look to for advice, support, or even as a keeper of family traditions. It can feel both empowering and overwhelming. But what no one tells you is how complicated those relationships can become. Your kids might still seek your guidance, but they're also living their own lives, and that balance between staying connected and giving them space can be tricky. Then there are the grandchildren. Oh, they're a blessing, no doubt about it. Watching them grow and seeing parts of yourself in them is magical. But sometimes you're also the babysitter, the mediator, or even the person stuck navigating family conflicts. There's also this unexpected realization that family isn't always just about blood. At 70, you redefine who your family really is. For some, that might include lifelong friends, neighbors, or even members of your church or community. These relationships become just as vital, sometimes even more so, than those tied by blood. It's a reminder that family is about love, support, and connection, not just genetics. So, you start reflecting on your legacy. Here's something no one prepares you for. At 70, you start thinking about the legacy you'll leave behind. It's not just about the material things like money, AI, home, or family heirlooms. It's about how people will remember you. What kind of impact have you made on their lives? What stories will they tell about you when you're gone? It's both humbling and inspiring. You might think about the lessons you've passed down to your children or grandchildren. Maybe you've taught them the importance of kindness, perseverance, or simply how to laugh at life when it gets tough. These intangible things hold far more value than any possession. You also start to wonder about the difference you've made in the world outside your family. Maybe it's the volunteer work you did, the people you helped, or the community you uplifted. At 70, you realize that your life has been a tapestry of moments, big and small, that have shaped not only your story, but the stories of others. Here's the beautiful part. Reflecting on your legacy doesn't just give you a sense of purpose, it also reminds you of the time you still have. You're still writing your story. You can still make an impact, whether it's through a kind word, a thoughtful action, or simply by showing others how to age with grace and authenticity. 10. Time feels like a luxury and a challenge. They say time flies, but let me tell you, it feels like it starts soaring the moment you turn 70. The weeks blur into months, and before you know it, another birthday has rolled around. Suddenly, time becomes both your most precious gift and a constant reminder of its limits. One thing you notice is how you begin prioritizing what truly matters. Gone are the days of wasting hours on trivial things or people who drain your energy. You start asking yourself, what will I remember about today in a year, or even in a decade? It's not about being productive in the traditional sense, but about being intentional. You savor a morning coffee as if it's a sacred ritual. You linger a little longer in conversations with loved ones. You start to treasure the quiet moments, because they're just as meaningful as the big, memorable ones. But there's also the challenge of balancing time. You may feel the clock ticking and think, there are still things I haven't done yet. Maybe it's that trip you've always dreamed of, learning something new, or mending an old relationship. At 70, the urgency is real, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Each day is an opportunity, not to do it all, but to do what matters most to you. The key is understanding that time, while finite, is still yours to cherish and use wisely. Silence. Small joys bring big happiness. At 70, your perspective on happiness shifts. In your younger years, you might have associated joy with milestones, landing, a big promotion, buying a home, or throwing a grand celebration. But now, it's the small, quiet moments that fill your heart in the deepest way. Let me give you an example. Watching the sunrise while sipping tea. It's such a simple act, yet it reminds you that you're here to see another day. Listening to birds chirping outside your window or laughing over old stories with friends and family becomes the highlight of your week. These small, seemingly ordinary things start to feel like gifts. I think the reason small joys mean so much is because you start to notice them more. You're not rushing from one thing to the next anymore. Instead, you're present, taking it all in, appreciating what's in front of you. That meal tastes better when you take your time. That book feels more profound when you're not distracted. The beauty of small joys is that they remind you of what life is really about: connection, gratitude, and presence. And trust me, once you embrace this mindset, it transforms how you live every single day. 12. You appreciate freedom like never before. There's a unique freedom that comes with turning 70, and no one really tells you just how incredible it feels. I'm not talking about freedom in the sense of traveling the world or ticking things off your bucket list, although those things are wonderful. I'm talking about the freedom to simply be yourself without apology or pretense. In your earlier years, there's so much pressure to fit in, whether it's trying to meet societal expectations, climbing the career ladder, or being the perfect partner or parent. By the time you're 70, all of that fades away. You stop caring about what people think of your choices. You're not chasing anyone's approval because you've realized the only person who needs to approve of you is you. It's like shedding a heavy coat you've worn for decades. It's liberating. This freedom also extends to how you live your daily life. You have more control over your time, choosing how and with whom you want to spend it. You don't feel obligated to attend every event or do things out of guilt. If you want to spend an entire day reading or gardening, you do it without hesitation. There's a profound joy in knowing that this stage of life is yours to live on your own terms. That kind of freedom is priceless. It's the reward for all those years of working hard, loving deeply, and learning life's lessons. It allows you to embrace who you are fully, and that, my friends, is a gift worth celebrating. So there you have it, 12 things no one tells you about turning 70. It's not just an age, it's a chapter of rediscovery. Tell me in the comments, what surprised you the most about getting older? And if you found this video helpful or inspiring, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out my Savvy Senior newsletter for even more wisdom and tips. Remember, ladies, life after 70 isn't about slowing down, it's about shining brighter. Until next time, keep being amazing.